will join us. All right, you guys, are we recording? Okay, great. I'd like to welcome you to this Public Utilities Commission meeting for Monday, March 5th, 2018. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Any public input? And I don't think so, because everybody here is on the agenda, one form or another. Any last minute correspondence that we don't already have? All right. Then entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of February 5th, 2018.
I'll make that motion. We accept the minutes of February 5th.
Second.
All right. Any comments or corrections?
I had three minor corrections.
Okay.
If you go to page 3.
Page 3.
At the bottom,
Yep.
item D,
Okay.
that second sentence, where compare once, stream flow, that second once needs to come out. Where it says stream flow once pumping begins.
Which one you want out?
Okay.
First one or the
It
second?
should read, 6 months of flow data has been gathered for use to compare once stream flow pumping begins.
Okay,
So I
so-
would take out the second once.
All right.
The next line says Department of Engineers. Department should come out, and that should say Army Corps of Engineers.
Be there.
And then in the last line, the word site, just the spelling, it should be S-I-T-E, site.
Yeah. Okay, great. Anything else? All right, so I'll call for a vote to approve the minutes as amended. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 One abstention?
Yeah, one abstention. All right, that carries. Item number 2, invoices. To get the ball rolling, I'll put a motion on the floor to approve invoices for PUC approval as submitted on March 5th, 2018, in the amount of $102,082.03. Is there a second?
Second for discussion. Let me just go over this.
Yep, sure. Yeah, take a few minutes to look it over. All right, if you have any questions, Kelly or Tom might be able to help you.
Let's start out with number 6, Zanellis Construction. This is 98%. I thought we were going to hold back more, or is that?
So this includes the December payment.
Yeah.
So the December invoice was about for $80,000.
Yeah,
And we actually met with them last week. We went over the payment requisition, and we basically gonna be holding back $35,000 out of the 80.
Okay.
And then there's still retainage left, which is the total amount of retainage is like $62,000. So we're gonna be holding back about $100,000 from them until they complete their work. So we actually met with them and talked about it last week, and we came up with, a good value number to kind of retain for the additional work that they need to do. We had a meeting with them on Friday, 2 weeks ago.
yeah.
We went through the punch list items, and at that meeting, we decided to divide the system away, and we basically set dates and deadlines for them to be done. They already started some work last week. They're gonna be back this week to continue the site work and work the site station. So we thought it would be okay to pay them for that work they already completed back in December, but we're still holding back $35,000 out of the 80.
Okay.
For them to finish it up.
You said dates and deadlines.
Yeah.
When is it supposed to be completely done?
I think the last day is like April 30th, we said, because it's weather dependent, like the site work and everything else. But again, that's just kind of like very conservative date. We're gonna push them to get it going, and again, we're gonna have snow again this week. They already started working there, so it's kind of throwing a curveball into their schedule, but, you know, they're out there, they're working, and, you know, we're gonna keep them moving.
Yeah, they were there at least 2 or 3 days of the following week, so we're gonna, you know, just kind of stay after them and make sure they can continue to press on and do the, you know, the items. We gave them intermittent deadlines on certain items. You know, March 15th or March 30th, so we're gonna just stay after them at this point.
Okay.
All right.
All
Any
right,
other
that-
questions?
yeah, I'm confused about number 7. You got, it says as complete, says 10,040, then 4,360 billed. Which one is it?
Okay, this invoice is, this was the 2,599.57.
Yeah.
Their invoice from last month. We held back on that because it wasn't clear as to whether that was specifically for the capital improvement plan.
Yeah,
It is specifically for the capital improvement plan.
All right.
Which we previously had authorized $10,000.
right,
So with that 2599.57, the total for the capital improvement plan is 4360.70.
okay, that makes
To
sense.
date, and I think we're gonna have one more invoice coming to complete that.
All right. Kelly, number 8, this is the Beach Street for Burns, and number 9. Is this, yeah, is this 100% at this?
You know what, right now, that's why these bills are so behind, because I've been trying to get some clarity out of them. Because they sent me a bill that was paid for $95.07, $9,507, and we didn't pay it. So these 3 are confirmed, and there's another, like I said, $9,500 or $9,700 that they stamped paid, and I know we didn't pay it, because I went up to talk to Bob to make sure. We've made 3 payments, one for $77,000, one for, I think one was for $30,000, and then another one for $55,000. And if you remember, we held back $30,000 the second.
Right.
Because they were still working on the brook.
Right,
So if there's anything still out there, if they can prove that they received payment that I know we didn't make, we're done.
okay,
But
okay.
I did go up to Bob and get the payout to Burns Construction, and those 3 checks are the only ones that I have records of. So these are outstanding.
All right.
Going back to Weston and Sampson, have they sent any reports as to what they're doing?
Just got one.
Yes.
Get it in the mail.
I included that, I put it under
Was
new
it-
business.
Okay, it's under new
It was
business?
submitted, it was not my intention to do anything with that other than to get it out to you
Okay,
guys
okay.
to review.
It was in the email, I just missed it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great.
That's it.
Anything, you guys have any other questions? Dino and Pete? Nope. All right. So we have a motion on the floor to approve as submitted, $102,082.03. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That carries. Where are we? Director's report, Tom?
A couple of things, on the Briarcliff Manor project, construction has started. In advance of construction, I had sent a letter out to the property owners on the streets involved, just to let them know what was coming and what to expect. That was one item. Another item, as I reviewed the plans and we looked at it closely, the connection down at the end where the pump station is gonna take its suction, there's an existing valve that we would be tapping it on the suction side to supply the pump station. We'd be tapping back into that line after that valve with the higher pressure. So that valve was gonna be pretty critical as far as it would have to be closed and hold tight to separate the 2 pressure zones. I wasn't comfortable that that valve was gonna hold. It was old, it's, I think, 70 years old and probably had not been exercised. So we gave the contractor a plan to provide a change order on, to install a new valve as part of that piping. And my original thought was, since we do have money in the budget for valve replacement, I was going to propose that we just expend that money against a capital improvement of a valve replacement as opposed to adding it onto the project.
Okay.
So that's what I've been doing there with that project. Did you get anything back from them yet, Marius?
No, I think what they indicated to us that they might be able to cover it because we're gonna be switching the 8-inch to a 6-inch in the end, so it might be a wash, so there might not be
Yeah, there was some
something-
things they were gonna save, there was a couple of wet taps they were not gonna have to do now, and I think the suction hydrant they were gonna have to tap, and it was actually on Nashville Road. So now I think they can completely stay off of Nashville Road, that was probably gonna help them as well. So at this point, we don't have to, it may be a wash, but I'm expecting, I'm expecting it to be something.
Okay,
Secondly, I've been dealing with that grant application so that we can get grant money to reimburse us for that I&I study. The Board of Selectmen did do their resolution, and my understanding from the DEEP staff was that that paperwork on their end has been revised again. So at this point, I'm waiting for them to now resend me the revised grant application paperwork, so we can now sign it.
okay.
So, and also, we set up a meeting for next week with Deep staff, so I'll have a chance to meet with them. I'm gonna go up with Weston and Sampson, and we're gonna look at the grant application as well as the capital improvement plan, and look at whatever next steps we should be thinking about. One other item, Chestnut Ridge Tank. I had an opportunity to get a hold of the property owner, where our first choice of the property where we'd like to place a tank. That meeting went well, Marius and I met, and what I left with him was a letter, kind of just outlining what we had discussed and what potential next steps were. I thought it would be prudent if I got something back from them in writing.
Yeah.
Nothing non-binding, but just
Yeah.
something that would say they're
Non-binding.
interested.
Right.
So now we've got something to go forward with in terms of trying to acquire the property.
And that's the best location.
That was, yes, it was closest to the treatment plant, without us having to use the treatment plant property, which is pretty small.
No.
And it would be tough to keep the plant in operation while we were building a tank. The other option we had was further down the road, and it would be probably a longer pipe run to get it tied in. And where this property is on Long Meadow, we'll be able to tie into the transmission main and be able to isolate several hundred feet of transmission main as it continues onto the tank that will be, in effect, be able to take out of service.
Okay.
Cool.
So
That's good.
kind of waiting for him now to at least get back to me. Even if he sends me an email, I'll at least have something, and we'll have more discussion, Marty, and certainly with the board. I had two other items, which I actually put on the agenda, so we'll get to them when we get under new business. I put them on there, I guess I could have left them as director's report items.
Yeah.
They weren't anything I was looking for a decision on, I was just getting it out for the board's, or the commission's information.
Okay.
Lastly, my last item, the Bergstrom Field well development. Wright Pierce was in last month. They gave us their presentation, and we got their revised proposal to continue with the phase 2. I probably should have put it on the agenda as an action item, but I'd like to recommend that we go ahead and authorize Wright Pierce to continue with the phase 2 portion, those tasks 6 through 9, to keep going with the well development.
Do you have any, we still have the paperwork on that?
Actually, the paperwork that Kathy just
Oh, that's the stuff
passed
that-
out
All right.
was their letter, basically giving us a summary of what they've done in the tasks 1 through 4. They're finishing up the report that's due on task 5, and then they've outlined the next steps, basically, to do to drill the well. I think, basically, the well driller, they're gonna start getting busy, and we're gonna need to, I think, contract with them so that they can get us in their schedule. There's some other work that's gotta get done as far as a fish and a turtle study, and that should be done in the near term as well, so. What I'm recommending is that we authorize Wright Pierce to proceed with the phase 2, tasks 6 through 9, as outlined in their proposal, which is dated 3/1/18, in the not to exceed amount of $295,300. And Matt, I have that written out if you want to
Okay.
make
Well,
that.
well, I think what we'll
if you're
do,
inclined.
if you guys want to do this, want to consider this for this evening, I think what I do is make a motion that we include this on the regular agenda under old business item number 2. Does that sound good?
Sure.
All right, so I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, that carries. So we'll just add that formally to the agenda, Tom. And after Marius does the capital project status summary, we'll take that up.
Okay. And,
So-
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I'm just gonna put that down as Bergstrom. Okay, go ahead.
And that was it for my report.
All right, thanks. Any questions for Tom? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Item number 1, Bethel Food Market Project. Sewer allocation request.
And Ben, I asked Ben to come in and give us a presentation of the project, and I sent out just a one-pager
Yeah.
in terms of what's going on, and basically what I read in our sewer management allocation report, it indicates that if there's a zone change, it required the PUC approval.
Mhm.
So even though their total flow is under the cap where we need PUC approval,
Yeah.
the fact that it contained a change of zone,
Okay.
I think requires the PUC approval.
Okay,
I'll turn
great.
it over to Ben.
Yes.
Ben, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Benjamin Dodo, licensed professional engineer, representing the applicant here.
Mhm.
This is the existing Bethel Food Market property. Of course, I lost my pen. Existing grocery stores here. The main entrance on Greenwood Avenue is right here. And then this application also includes the sort of vacant properties to
And-
the east there, where the old gas station and dry cleaners was. The proposal's pretty straightforward. It's a rehab and sort of fixing some historical problems at the site. The site's already has town water and town sewer. There's 3 existing houses on South Street, and as Tom mentioned, that's why we're here. We're here because of a zone change. Our sewage increases are pretty minimal. They're about 1,600 gallons per day when you take the net of what we're taking down and what we're adding. But in order to do this, and we are in front of planning and zoning currently, we had our public hearing starting last week. We're also in front of wetlands because there's a little brook that's uncovered that runs through the back of this piece right here before it dies back underground. But we have 2 zones here. We have the village center zone. Here's the zoning boundary
Mhm.
that goes this way. And then we have the RMO zone for the 3 houses on South Street. In order to make this project work, we're taking the zone line and moving it to South Street.
Okay.
Not necessarily for the houses, because we're taking down those 3 houses and putting up 3 houses.
Mhm.
It has to do with, technically, we're expanding, we're taking the loading zone, which is right in front of the building here.
Yeah.
And we're just moving it around the side.
Mhm.
To sort of fix some of that historical, you got the loading, you got the entrance, and we have that exit drive up to South Street.
Yeah.
That creates a conflict right there.
So that'll be gone.
That'll be gone.
Okay.
We're still, no, the South Street exit,
Go
we're
ahead.
gonna fix.
Okay.
I'm moving it from here to the east.
Okay.
And by doing that, we're going from it has a maximum of about a 15–16% grade that we're all aware of.
Yeah.
About 8 or 9 feet wide.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna walk up or down it, you gotta look over your shoulder, or you gotta look over your
Yeah.
shoulder when you're walking out of there.
Right.
We're making it 15 feet wide. We're gonna reduce the slope to about 8.5% and add a sidewalk next to it.
Oh, okay.
It's still gonna function exactly like it does today.
It's still gonna be a
One way out.
One way out?
Yeah, we don't want that to be a full access driveway. What it serves as a relief valve.
Right.
As you're all aware, to the existing
Yep.
center. But what it also does, it pulls those vehicle traffic away from the main building.
Mm-hmm.
And by moving the loading a little this way, we've got our main entrance. So it's
You,
just-
you have a major excavation there then?
Oh,
don't you?
yes,
Yeah.
and some retaining walls that need to be
Yeah.
built. That's part of it. So the bottom line is, that's what we're doing to the grocery store. As you know, the inside of the store has just been renovated.
Yeah.
We're putting a small 1,600 square foot addition on the front of the grocery store. I mean, I can go through this in 2
Please,
minutes.
please
or-
do. Yeah, yeah, interested.
No, we like pictures.
Okay.
That's good.
I'm gonna go in reverse here. Here's the existing grocery store. You all
Right.
see that?
Right.
We're gonna square off this and take the loading and put it around back. And just to get a sense of before and after, that's the after,
Turn it back again. I want to see that.
and there's the before.
Wow.
That's what it is today.
Okay. Now,
And there's also a
that's nice.
series of architectural changes to the building. I'm not the architect, I'm the civil engineer, but you can see they're going with a more traditional roof instead of the standing seam that they have, changing some of the trim patterns to the building, really improving it from that standpoint. This part's more aesthetic, but here's what we all know
Exists.
on Greenwood Avenue. And that's what it's gonna look like. It's gonna sort of
Oh,
match the
yeah.
front.
Nice.
The retaining wall is gonna be faced, a railing put up top, sort of some outdoor seating is gonna be put there, and then some features to sort of dress that up.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
And then, getting back to this other piece, across from Food Bag. We're taking down those two buildings. Those two buildings total about 7,000 square foot of retail space. And we're putting up an 18,000 square foot building, but it has a 9,000 square foot footprint. So if you can imagine those two buildings there today are 7, we're gonna go to about 9 with our footprint. We're gonna close all the driveways that start, not the main driveway, but right after the main driveway, there's about 4 or 5 curb cuts to the
right.
corner. Those are all getting closed. Stop, ending with this one, and then we're basically taking this driveway and moving it as far away from Chestnut Street as we can. We're in the process, initially that was a full access driveway. Traffic consultants have sort of gotten together and said, it's a little busy here. So we're making this right turn in, right turn out. That's where we are today. We're still, as I mentioned, in the review process, and we're doing an interconnection to the main driveway here. So you're gonna be able to come in the shopping center using the main driveway, come here, leave if you want, or continue to shop.
Now, where would be the parking for this building here?
It's gonna be shared parking. We have a parking lot right here,
Yeah,
we have a smaller lot here, and then some of this in the middle, some of the underutilized parking is gonna be shared by both buildings.
okay.
The,
The old Masonic Temple, in other words.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then right here, this is what the building's gonna look like when you're standing,
From Food Bag?
no, Food Bag's to the right, so on
Chestnut
the
Street.
residential at the opposite corner there.
Chestnut.
Yes. This is what it's gonna be, look like when you're driving up Greenwood Avenue from the existing, from downtown Bethel.
Okay.
out. Here's where some of that parking is. We didn't highlight that on the rendering, obviously. And you can see it's similar in look, but not identical to the,
But there's continuity, yeah, okay.
here is a, sorry, everyone can't see. Sorry. This is the existing entrance that you see.
Yeah.
Again, standing seam, the matching sign. We also have a landscape architect on board. So the sign's coming down, we're gonna do a more low profile sign in a brick wall, and then a staggered brick wall all the way down South Street to sort of screen the bumpers of the cars and things of that nature. In the back.
Excuse me, down South Street, you said?
Did I say down south? I meant down
Greenwood.
Greenwood Avenue. I'm sorry. No brick wall on South Street. There is a retaining wall that we are building behind to accommodate
Right.
the loading and parking there. That wall will be seen from, when you're in the parking lot looking up, from when you're on South Street, you're not gonna see the wall because it's gonna be a wall below you. One of the items that came up, the infamous left turn here.
Yeah.
It says no left turn. The plans where they currently stand, we're gonna put a raised island on there.
Ah,
Trucks are gonna be able to go over it for deliveries in the nature, but it's something that more people violate than.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the
Yes,
time.
yes. So that was one comment. So you're gonna see a raised textured median right there. The current plans do have that as well.
put a big potted plant in the middle and that'll just shut it off.
Oh, it'll
The
drive right
trucks-
over
the
it.
first truck will hit it.
It'll drive right over it.
Is it, just not, I know this isn't pertinent, but what about, was there ever consideration of a light there?
It's too close. I
Too
mean,
close to
yes,
the
other
yes.
side. Stack 'em
Once-
up.
We did have a traffic study, and as I mentioned, the net change is, we're adding about 2,000 square feet of retail. We're adding 3 residential units net change when you take down some and put some up. and then about 1,600 square feet of grocery. So it really doesn't warrant
I like
a
it.
So if you
signal.
were out there
Yes.
this weekend, you would have warned more parking.
Oh, I'm there all the time. I just try to do my grocery shopping, so
Okay, but
I
that's
am
not
familiar with it.
pertinent to us.
And then on South Street, we're sort of in flux with it, with the architecture on South Street. This was the architect's first idea of what they want the houses to look. As you know, those houses, there's nothing special about them
Yeah.
now. But the intent was to create a street wall there, so you don't just look down onto, you know, the grocery store from there. And this was sort of the idea of
Ah.
what the architect has, something nice. And again, we're still working through the P&Z process as far as feedback on.
Is that a condo type of development that they're proposing?
No, those are gonna be single-family houses, but they're gonna be owned and controlled
By
by
the-
Duffy.
by Carolucci's, right.
They're gonna be similar to a condo, meaning they're not gonna be on their own individual lots. So no one's gonna be able to pull in, park a motorhome there.
Oh, okay.
Or have, you know, too many people living there.
Right.
It's gonna be controlled. So if you do have an overflow of parking, say you have a dinner party.
Yeah, they could use
They
it.
can park down in the grocery store, and they're allowed to. So this is the proposal. As I had mentioned, it's all served by town water and town sewer. We're gonna have, obviously, new connections for this building. You know, Tom had mentioned in one of his memos that to tie into the 12-inch main on Chestnut Street, which we do. We just don't know the size of that domestic service yet, because we don't know what's inside of it. You know, even though it says retail store, but if it ends up being a restaurant versus
Yeah.
a bookstore, those are two totally different things.
You want a
And then we
sprinkler?
do have some, most likely, yes, there's gonna be a sprinkler connection there as well. And Tom Galliford, the fire marshal, had originally asked that we show that the ladder truck can make this movement here. He already is familiar with the movements through the shop. It's mainly this. We showed him that. He's asked that we add a fire hydrant. I don't know, that just came off, Tom. I failed to mention that to you. But there may be a fire hydrant getting added
That's fine.
somewhere near this entrance, because the nearest one, I think, is down here.
Yeah.
And then across the street. Is it across the street
Street,
there?
put-
Yeah.
food bag.
Across the street somewhere there. So
Yeah, we
that's-
assumed the fire marshal would, propose.
Yeah, so that's something that,
propose
we'll
something. Mm-hmm.
work that out, that detail out with him. That's not unusual to add a hydrant to a development like this. But again, we're technically here because of the zone change line that we're pulling this direction. And the net flow increase is, about 1,600 gallons. It's pretty nominal for a project of this size, but that has to do with the fact that we are removing some items, which I accounted for in the flow as negatives, and then added some in the flows. Be happy to answer anyone's questions they may have.
Tom, you've gone over those numbers as far as the flows?
Yes, he used the numbers that are in our sewer management
Right.
capacity.
Okay.
Plan.
Right.
On the second floor of the new building.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Are those apartments or offices?
Both. First floor is retail.
Yeah.
The second floor is, again, 9,000 square feet. There's gonna be 5 apartments, 2-bedroom apartments, and the remainder is gonna be office space, about 1,500 square feet of office space.
It's gonna be a dramatic change downtown
Yes,
here.
Yes.
Nice.
That zone change line, that goes right to the property line, right to the street?
Yes.
Right to the street.
But again, technically, that zone change was, it serves 2 things. It allows us to be able to expand
Right.
the parking and loading here, because technically, it's a commercial use in the RMO zone. Which is
Yeah,
sort
but it
of
used to be
the-
RMO
yes.
years ago, yeah.
Yes. But it also allows us to put the houses here and create that street wall without having to create.
There'll be no
separate-
backyards there whatsoever.
No, they're gonna
It'll be
have courtyards, just
court-
to get a sense, they're gonna have courtyards on the side.
Okay,
Maybe a little bit in the back too, but yes,
yeah.
it's gonna be.
And it'll be walled off,
It's gonna be downtown living. I
and
mean,
it'll be walled
You
off.
can see, there's the courtyard there. It's gonna be, like you said, more like a condo experience, but it's not gonna be 3 stories tall like a
Right.
lot of townhomes you see. The
Right.
first level's gonna be kitchen, dining room,
Yeah,
and bedrooms.
bedrooms, yeah.
Are there
Hello?
structures there now that have to
Yes.
come down?
There's
Yes.
old houses there.
The old houses.
There's-
Well, those are what, 2 bedrooms?
There's 3, these are gonna be 3-bedroom.
Okay,
3-bedroom, single family. Right now, there's 2 2-families
Mm-hmm.
and 1 1-family that are coming down here.
The one little house where the driveway was, that one.
the one that they built.
The,
Yeah, that's going.
I haven't paid much attention to the inside because I know we're taking them down, but
Well, where the
Where's
current,
where's
where's the
existing
current
driveway?
the
existing?
existing driveway's right here.
Yeah, so.
This is
Yeah.
that ranch house that sort of had.
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
garage
that's
yeah,
the one,
over
yeah.
to an
That-
office.
that's where
Yeah.
Tony was living.
That was the
Office
father's
at one
house.
time.
Yeah.
That one, and then a larger house here, and then a bigger one here. But they all need to come down. There was no way we could,
Have they acquired them already?
they've
They own them.
Oh, do they?
They own
They own them for
everything.
years.
There's
Okay.
nothing
Yeah.
being purchased here.
Okay.
And there's gonna be tremendous landscape improvements throughout the property.
This is going to improve the appearance of the town.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I
didn't
like,
bring the color one, but you can see, of course, I'm top heavy now. Sorry, Kathy, but you saw this the other night, yes. You can see this is sort of the Bethel Food Market half, some screening along the side of the driveway, new island trees everywhere. And then you get to the eastern side and all new landscaping, new plantings along the brook, because as we mentioned, the brook's there. And it's sort of a rough edged brook right now. We're gonna be putting that embankment, we're gonna be putting a small retaining wall with a guardrail and some plantings along.
Does that go into that box culvert?
yeah, yes,
There's
it
a
does.
big box,
from it?
there's a big box
It
culvert there.
comes from it right here.
Across the
Right.
street.
The one that you guys
Yeah.
fixed, I forget how many years ago.
Don't even talk about that.
I
one,
won't,
no.
I know.
No, that's bad news, no. no.
But
That's
it's
bad,
nice
no.
and shiny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
The new concrete culvert discharges here, and then there's an existing one here that it has like a 90-degree sweep as it crosses the street and comes back out over here.
I have to excuse for just a second.
Yes.
Go ahead.
But, we're really not touching that, but we are in front of the Wetlands Commission, the Inland Wetlands Commission, because technically it's a water course. There are no wetland soils there, but it is
Yeah,
a water
of
course.
course, right.
And so we're sort of, a lot of people don't even know that brook exists there when you drive by.
We do.
They know when there was, no, they did when there was a heavy rain.
Yeah, yes.
Because Con Engineering did a survey years ago and said that brook going all the way down by the school, by the town hall here, should have been a 96-inch pipe at that time.
At
And
that time.
and everybody thought he was crazy.
Okay.
Look at the size of that box culvert that's out there now,
All
at
eight-
Carluzzi's,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then-
It's
and then
enormous.
when the state
Huh?
redid the road there.
They redid it.
There's an extra one.
There's an
that's
extra
not
one in
being
there because of the
used,
flows.
Yes.
Because that bridge is, that little brook is torrential when there's a major flow.
Oh, it's.
unbelievable.
Things are done differently now. Those are
Oh, I
usually
know.
left over.
Oh, I know.
Yes,
Yeah.
So,
yes.
so you're just looking for approval today for
That's
that,
what we're looking for.
the additional 1,600?
Yes,
No.
yes.
So you said that zone change is going right to the property, right to the street. Now, what's the rest of the zone on that street?
Excuse me?
The rest of the zone the same?
RMO.
It's all RMO,
Yes.
that's good. So it's not spot
So are
zoning.
there additional charges?
They're not creeping zoning.
This
There's
was
fees,
the
and
best
when
way
he
that we
gets closer
could.
to
It's not a
Those-
creep
those-
zone, it's all gonna be
No,
RMO.
He'll do
it's
an
gonna be an
application
expansion
and we'll
of
hit him up for the
Right.
fees.
village
Okay.
center.
Okay.
Fine.
Kelly, have you spoken to them about the number of water meters and all that with this
Yeah,
mixed use?
Well, the three homes up in the back, it'll still be 5/8 meters, but down in the front, the only thing that I had asked was that it has a separate water service. So I don't like the idea to tap off the fire line, just as long as they bring in a separate tube or whatever they bring in.
Going to be a single water service for the apartments, the
At this
offices,
time, we're saying
and
that.
the retail?
It all depends what you come up with.
Okay, we'll talk. Either way, but definitely you want two taps, one for domestic and one.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't tap up to.
Okay.
Right. And a sprinkle too, right?
Yeah, and one fire. Yes,
Ben,
Marty.
I couldn't see that.
Oh, sorry.
Is the parking lot of the store now and the new building you're putting up, is that connected at all?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yes,
It'll be all shared, right?
yes. It's gonna be connected, sort of when you come in now, Marty, right before you can take that first right, it'll be right on the left there.
Okay, all right.
And that'll be a full access driveway.
Is it the building slab on grade, or is there a basement to the building?
We haven't gotten to that point yet. I know there's gonna be some, I don't know if there's gonna be a basement or just a step footing, because there is, surprising, there's about 6 feet of fall from Chestnut Street
Over there.
to the
Yeah.
corner there. It's deceiving, and we wanna have, so if you saw on the renderings, you could, it's hard to tell, but you can see how there's some stairs
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and we're sort of a
At
little
grade.
below grade there, and then when you get to this side, this shows it a little better. You
Yeah.
can see that
Yeah.
High there.
the stairs are a little higher there, because we want to keep it one level for a couple reasons. Really don't know who the tenants are, and once you start to step a building, you're sort of committed
Yeah,
to that drop inside
Right.
the building.
cool.
Let's just vote on it.
Yep. Tom, what's the allocation number we need to vote on?
It was 1,569 gallons per day. That would be your net increase.
All right. So I'll put a motion on the floor to approve the increase request of 1,569 gallons per day over and above the current usage. Is that the
Current.
Current allocation.
current allocation?
allocation.
Of the
Yeah.
entire
Yes.
properties.
Right, for the Carluzzi project.
Yeah, I'll second it for discussion.
Okay.
Just one thought came up. What if a restaurant goes in, do you come back to us?
Yes, Tom and I had that discussion.
Or some
It
other?
could be, it could be anything. Yes.
Water, yeah, large use,
Yes.
water or sewer.
Yeah.
What I did in my calculations, I was slightly conservative, but not overly conservative. For example, the flows I was taking away, I gave a lower water use than the flows I'm proposing, because you guys do have some different types of retail use.
Right.
So I'd given a more dry use for the ones I'm getting rid of, just because, I'm getting rid of them. And
He didn't take too much credit for what he was
yes,
removing.
yes. But at the same time, I want to acknowledge we are removing quite a few units
Yeah.
and quite a few square feet.
Well, it's a trade-off for the houses on South Street.
Yeah, that's
For the
a wash.
water.
We have
Yeah.
probably
There's
a
nothing.
net decrease there, and then there's a
Yeah.
most of the increase is coming from
What about the abatement? No, they took out the tanks.
yes.
The soil's okay?
They're okay, yes. They took out some soils. It's on file with the planning and zoning office. We've hired an LEP.
Okay.
Who's done a summary. They, as part of the purchase, they took out the tanks and they did some soil testing. They got some clean, but there were still some indicators.
sure.
So what the proposal is, after demo, some additional sampling is going to be taken, because you don't want to build a building on top of a hot spot.
Right.
You have to remediate later. So,
Right.
yes, we're going to do some further ones, but everything's fine from now. There's no wells getting put in there or anything
Right.
of that nature. But yes, there will be some
Good.
further testing to be done.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
But relatively clean bill of health, considering it was the dry cleaners.
Yeah, and the gas station.
Yes,
Old one,
And
too.
an automotive garage
Yes.
in the back there.
yes,
right?
yes,
Years ago, they.
yes.
All right, any
Yeah,
other
but that's
questions?
that's on file in the
Yeah.
land use office,
Yeah.
if anyone's interested in looking at it.
All right, any other questions, guys?
No.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve the request. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That carries. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 2, water rules and regulations. Tom,
Yeah.
this is something that Kelly had already put together. Thank you, Kelly, for your work on that, but Tom had a couple of other items he wanted to go over with us.
Minor items, I made that part of the submittal that we gave you guys. I left it in track changes so you could see what changes I
Right.
made. Most of it were grammar and just to keep consistency throughout the document. So there wasn't really anything.
That's the one we got in an email.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, right, okay.
So I didn't necessarily have it on the agenda today for action. I wanted to, though, make sure that I got it to you in time to look at. If
Thanks,
you're
Ben.
inclined to approve the revisions, if we want to put it off till next month or next meeting, that would be
Yeah,
fine.
be good, yeah.
You want to,
Yeah, I gotta see it. I have to. I gotta-
Pete hasn't done
Right,
it.
I'll-
Still going to
second
target
that.
to approve them next meeting?
Yeah, yeah, Richie just put a motion on the floor to table it for the next meeting.
Good.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. And item number 3, sanitary sewer capital improvement plan.
Okay, again, I put this on the agenda. I guess I could have just kept it in my director's report as opposed to new business. But Weston and Sampson did get the capital improvement plan completed. And again, I wanted for your information to get it to you in advance. And I asked Weston and Sampson to come to the next meeting on the 19th and make a presentation.
Okay,
All right, so I'll make a motion that we table to the 19th.
second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. All right, old business. Marius, you're up. Capital plan.
So I go to my handout here, Hoyt Water Booster Station, so I talked about it a little bit already. Denali's removed the breakfast fountain, we had a meeting with them a couple weeks ago. We generated a punch list items, Tom was there, Kelly, we went through a list and basically gave them deadlines to get those items completed, they're on them. They're working on, the site work and completing the items inside the station. So, the station is operational, there was no issues, everything is working fine, so we told them to take the bypass away. Again, we have the snow coming, so it doesn't help them, but, they're gonna be working there as quick as they can to basically be done with that project. The next project, Briarcliff Manor Booster Station construction. So True Blue removed the trees in the right of way, so I think they're moving pretty quickly. I think originally they asked for like a time extension because they didn't know, what's gonna happen with the winter, but they actually done a lot of work in the last week. They've done a lot. I was surprised on what they did. They cleared the trees, they stake everything out. They already laid a pipe along the right of way, ready for the pipe to be put into the ground. They put in the valve today. There was a shutdown that was done, so everything's ready to go. All the erosion sedimentation control is complete. I went out there today, I took some photos of the pipe material because obviously this is a state DPH funded project, so they need to buy American items. So there's actually, pipe made in USA, so they're just getting a nice class 54, nice pipe in their project, so it's gonna last a long time, much thicker. So I'm really pleased so far with the way they've been out there. Kelly, they've been doing a pretty good job.
Did we buy that before the terrace?
Yeah, they submitted their bid months ago.
Yeah.
so-
We're okay. The next item is the various water main replacement designs. Design is on the way. Rick Rance in my office is gonna be stopping by, meeting with Kelly in time to go over the preliminary design, make sure everything's ready. And then, the plan is to get it out to DPH and then to bid in April so we can get two prices on the project as well. And then all the financial information was provided to the state for the application, basically to fund the project. That's gonna be funded about 20–25% through the grants. So, it's gonna be a nice project. Again, the town's gonna get a lot of money back, to those water mains. The next project is the additional water supplies. I guess, Greg Smith was here last time, made a presentation to the commission. And I guess we provided a revised proposal in an email on Friday. Kathy sent it out. And also was hard copies for like today. So I guess we'll be looking for an approval for the next phase to move forward. And, obviously the big cost is the drilling cost. We're not gonna be drilling yet, but we wanna lock in the contract with the driller, because they're like 2 or 3 months out. So if you don't lock into the contract, we might lose the time frame to basically get the drilling done. So we're looking for the approval of that project, and, it's not to exceed amount. One of the first items we're gonna be doing these surveys for the turtles and also the fish. DEP requires extensive hydraulic modeling, so the proposal for the hydraulic modeling is to be done part of the process. But everything's in that letter, so if any other questions, can answer those. We're looking for approval to move forward, and again, drilling's not gonna happen, probably another 2 months from now. But again, we'd like to get authorized so we can get, contract to line up and sign contracts with them to move forward. And then the chest storage tank, Tom already gave a quick update on that. We had a meeting with the property owner, and he was very receptive to the project, and he was gonna get back to us on the next step, so Tom was waiting for the letter.
Okay.
Who owns that property?
13 Briarcliff, so it's the gentleman on the right.
Yeah.
I forget the name.
Yeah, when you go up to the end of the cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
the house, the real nice house to the right.
Well, he owns it, and the other neighbor on the other side. So when our easement goes in between, there's 2 owners, actually, both of them, of the lot. But we'll be only looking for purchasing 1/3 of that,
Correct.
or less.
Yeah, it's already been a 3-lot approved subdivision.
Okay.
And I think where Marius had already maybe spotted a potential tank site, it'll fit right on that middle lot. So we're only looking to acquire
One lot.
one of the 3 lots that they now own.
Yeah, I have
Which actually I think makes things a little easier, because then if it was one big lot, it would then probably need to be subdivided, because
Right.
we wouldn't need the entire thing.
I don't have enough copies, but I can give a copy of the.
Just give
I
it
can make more copies.
No, it's
No
okay.
problem.
This is all we'll send it out. Yeah, it's going to get pretty, yeah. Sorry.
No, give the Rich. Marius, I've just have a few questions, and they may apply or may not. Let me just go back to Hoyts Hill Booster Station, since I live up that way. Landscaping, I mean, you guys put a March 30th on it, it's impossible to,
April 30th.
April 30.
Yeah, there's gonna be paving and landscaping, trees and everything.
and fencing,
Fencing, everything, right?
the whole 9 yards, okay.
Yes, yes.
All right, and my second question deals with this water replacement, water main replacement design. Does this impact this project here with Caroluzzi's at all? When they're,
No.
no? All right,
There's brand new main, where Carlucci's is tying, where they wanna tie into the main, if I may, that's the 12-inch main that was put in, 10 years ago, when they did the box culvert.
Yeah.
So it's on newer main, it's not on the old 4-inch.
Okay.
Or anything like that. So,
so there's no problems there?
you know, and Tommy Gallagher, he wants the hydrant on that 12-inch main on that corner, which is on
Okay.
Chestnut.
All right, okay, those are my only questions.
Any other questions for Marius?
No.
Was there any conversation with Pinellas about leaving the existing pump for the town?
Yeah, there was some conversation with him, but I don't think we can really ask for it because it's not in the spec. I mean, he basically provided for the bypass. You know, this is like a $40,000-$50,000 item. There's really nothing we can do to go after him for the bypass. You know, he wants to take it back because he owns it.
Even though he's 9 months past due on his obligation to the town of Bethel?
I think I'd have to look back at minutes. I thought we gave him an extension the time he was here till the end of the year, till the end of December. So
I don't think there was any mention of this commission extending this time. We just let it go.
Right.
Is what we did.
Right.
We didn't say that, you know, he had to get it done because he wasn't getting it done.
Mhm.
So, I don't know. It's,
No.
When we wanted him to take it down so he could at least get going on his
Yeah, I
site work,
understand.
I at least talked him into keep it in our building. So if,
okay.
for whatever reason, we needed to turn that bypass on or put it back in service, it was right there.
Right.
So I at least felt
Good.
that, let's keep it local.
Just change the keys.
Yeah, change.
Marius, just the Chestnut Ridge tank, are you guys into preliminary type design on that?
Well, first we have to kind of, get the site. This is the optimal site. So
Yeah, I
we can't do
understand.
anything without it, but this site is very easy. There's already survey already been completed.
Yeah.
That we can get. It's gonna be much easier construction-wise than Eureka. I mean, that's
And we're looking at, what, $500,000?
half a million.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that would essentially be in the same elevation as your Chestnut Ridge clear wells. And then the easement that you have right now that you're putting in the water main
Yeah.
for Meadow, we're actually gonna talk to the contractor to put the water main on the side, so there's room to put in the future water main to connect to that tank if that moves forward for that site. But again, we've done the preliminary design report.
yeah.
You know,
And
last
you've
year-
you've modeled it too for.
Yes, we modeled it, we've done the report last year, we were waiting really to get, because with this property, we wanted to make sure that, because that's the optimum site. That's gonna allow you to take half of that transmission main out of service. And, and so it's gonna really reduce the water age, it's gonna improve the water quality. And then also what's gonna help you is, second storage, you can actually use the South Street pump station to backfeed the Eureka zone, because you have a pressure reducing valve. So if you need to take the Eureka Lake tank of service for cleaning, you can actually use the Chestnut Ridge tank to supplement the fire flow and water demand.
What's the elevation difference between the two tanks, Eureka and?
Eureka is,
Within 10 feet.
well, no, the
Oh, the
Yeah, 557?
557 is Eureka.
To 645.
To 645, it's about 100 feet difference, yeah.
And maybe a little less, 90.
90 feet, yeah.
So
But
what,
the South Street is a
40
PRD, you
pounds?
can reduce the pressure.
40 pounds pressure difference?
Oh, yeah.
Give or take?
Right.
Yeah.
So, the reason I'm saying that, when that new well is put in over down here at
Bergstrom.
Bergstrom property, that could actually feed that tank up there, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
So then you eliminate the difference between the elevations, because that tank would solely be on its own,
That's right.
right? So it could be independent on half that side of the town.
Yeah, well, it's gonna get pumped through South
It might get-
Street.
Well, they get pumped through South Street if we have to, but I'm just saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can go directly, but we have to look at the horsepower, because the horsepower response might be like, they might be very, very high. It might be like 100 horsepower, but I think it's doable.
Right.
I mean, that's something we're gonna consider once we know this is the site, this is where we have to go to, then we have to look at, okay, do we pump straight to Chestnut, or do we go through Eureka? You know, I think if you can pump directly from the well, treat it all the way to the tank, that's gonna save the town.
Oh, sure,
Pump station was going through, South Pump Station.
because that goes
That's
right
something we
up,
have to consider.
that'll go right up through Whittlesey, right?
Right.
Actually, Whittlesey, or it could go down Maple Avenue Extension and hit it at the other end of Whittlesey. Because right now, there's no water main on Maple Avenue Extension and then halfway up the hill of Judd.
Right, Judd.
So that you got two, or you switch Whittlesey over to the Chestnut side, because it's not on Chestnut, it's on the Eureka side, and you could actually tie in right at the line.
Right, and you realize the pressure you're generating from that well going up that way, right?
Just a question. This map here shows Good Hill, Good Hill.
Is that a different drawing? Okay.
Yeah, this is the wrong drawing.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Because it's Costas property there. And I don't think we're gonna deal with this.
Did they give you the Good Hill? or-
I know, I got Briarcliff.
You got Briarcliff, yeah. I had 3 of them because I was.
It did look funny to me too.
That's why. Yeah, that's Good Hill.
And that must be all right, there's the cul-de-sac, that's gotta be it.
Yeah,
Well,
but
there is
Good
a
Hill has
cul-de-sac.
Good Hill has no water main, you can run, over 1,500 feet of water main and
Yeah.
by the land and it's a lot of rock, so,
Now, you said this was a legal 3-lot subdivision that's already been approved?
yes, that's correct.
I can't figure out the frontage when you look at this, right? Where your driveway is going to your tank, right?
The frontage on the middle lot is
Yeah.
only like a 25-foot wide frontage.
That's what I can't understand. I know.
Comes down to the.
It doesn't look like, when he said it was legal, I'm looking at this going, how can this be legal? You know, because the zone it's in.
And in fact, I think it shares a driveway with the lot to the west. So if we get that second lot, the middle lot, it'll be on a common driveway. I think that's how it was approved.
It's hard to believe, Marty, huh?
Well, they used to have them all the time.
No, but, yeah, but it had to be double width. The easements had to be double on a common driveway, huh?
They could have gotten a variance.
Oh, I don't think so. Not for.
No, no.
See, we should have a common driveway.
Yeah.
There was-
Oh, I
It was a
see it.
25-foot strip, but then the other one had to be 25, so if they got in a disagreement,
Yeah.
they each had their individual driveway. They get an argument, well, who's plowing what? That's why they did it.
Yeah.
The guy could put his own driveway in. Yeah, no problem, I just wondering.
Gee, this will be the shortest meeting we've ever had in a long time.
Well, not done yet. All right, any other questions for Marius
No.
on that? Right, anything else? Rich, you good?
No.
It's pretty cool. All right, well, moving on to old business item number 2, that we voted to add Bergstrom Field, Wright Pierce's proposal. Tom, you want to just take us through that again?
Sure. What I'm recommending is that PUC authorize Wright Pierce to proceed with the Phase 2, tasks 6 through 9 of the Bergstrom Field well development as outlined in their 3/1/18 proposal in a not to exceed amount of $295,300.
And there's a variation there on, for the drilling, because, right, 117
Yeah.
to 158.
I think there's a range in the prices,
Yeah.
so the 295,300 would be the upper end of that.
So the 117, if you have a question on drilling, remember Greg talked about drilling the test well as a temporary well? So
Right.
that's the 117. The 158, to drill the test well as a permanent well. That way you save, I mean, you pay a little more, but then you save money in the future, so that's the difference for that.
Right. Well,
Is there anything with this assessment that can throw us into a big stop into the program?
Well, it's really.
With the turtle and the fish assessment?
With the fish, it's only how much water you can take out from the brook.
Mhm.
So it's really, I mean, what we're doing with the brook assessment is really to get biologists out to really determine is the really, the stream where you can carry, trout is really there, and that way, we're gonna go back to the DEP and basically say, well, we did a survey, we didn't see any trout, we didn't see any indications of the trout, active habitat for trout in this area. So that's gonna actually help us. Or if you actually find something, then, then that might hurt us, but at least we have a good understanding of what we have. We can talk to DEP and, talk to them about how much flow we can take out. Because really, DEP is gonna look at the stream flows, to make sure that we maintain the minimum stream flows required for the trout, the fish to live if it's there. But that's gonna be done, you know, early on, that's gonna be done April, May, so that's starting up soon. And then, you know, the drilling is gonna happen probably, you know, 2 months or 3 months from now, so we have a good understanding before we spend the money on drilling, what we have to deal with. We're already gonna have meetings with the DEP, we talk about findings and everything, so, you know, obviously, you know, it's a big ticket item, so we're not gonna rush into it, we're gonna make sure we understand and, you know, move forward in the right pace, you know, not jump through the hoops.
And you have to monitor the turtles?
Yeah.
They're gonna put a GPS on the
What
turtles?
turtles?
Huh?
What turtles?
Yeah, I mean, you have to find out what the habitat is of turtles because, you know, DEP wants to know, and, I mean, we had this for the tank project, we had it for the Maple Avenue.
Oh, I know that,
We had-
I'm just, yeah.
So it just, you know, I'm just saying where they are and getting a report to the.
Well, they had the GPS on the lizards up there in Brookville when they did the bypass, right?
Yeah.
They did.
Yes, that's right.
I would've hired a guy from New York and pick him up, and saw him going down 84.
I call Uber.
All right, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we proceed with the,
If that helps.
Thank you.
That's what it is, right?
Make a motion that we proceed with authorization of Rick Pierce to proceed with Phase 2, tasks 6 through 9 of the Bergstrom Field Well Development
It turned
as
out
outlined in their 3/1/18 proposal in
Could you believe that could happen?
not to exceed $295,300.
I'll second. Okay, any other questions on that?
Now, which size are we gonna drill, the larger size? Okay.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That carries. All right,
I've been in favor of this, developing this property for the future water use for many years. That's
yeah,
great.
this is good stuff. Kelly, supervisor's report. Anything leaking?
I have a couple little ones. Actually, today they were over at 20 Chestnut, trying to help out a customer there who's got a leak on his service after the shut off. Tinker is out there trying to help him out. It's a multi-family handling that. We did have a service leak on Golden Hill, 5 Golden Hill, before the curb stop, so we took care of that. I had Pembroke come in, they come in with their back truck, they don't do any damage to nothing, and it works out very well for them. We did have one sewer main with road issues on Nashville, right across from Humboldt Park. That's a common area there that we got to keep an eye on every so many months. As you know, we had main break last Thursday at the school. We handled that as professional as possible. We did not want them to cancel school in any way. There was no reason for it. The water was running right into the catch basin. It was right dead in the front of the entrance to the school, but they still had fire service. They still had, everything was usable within the building, so we felt there was no reason to cancel school. I was out there with Jeremy Nero and the superintendent early in the morning, and we got it all worked out. We had the contractor come in, and he was there at 2 o'clock. He told me he couldn't put a bucket in the ground until 3:30. The last kid was out of the school. And then he did a shutdown. They had it all taken care of. I think I texted you by 6:30. They had the water back on. So it was cut and dry. It was just circle breaks. Sometimes the ground moves. There's nothing you can do about it. It had nothing to do with the drilling for the test wells, anything like that. It just nature of the beast. That was well said.
And if I, Rockwell.
Rockwell, I'm sorry.
And if I can, I stopped on my way home, 5:30. They already had it backfilled up to the ground and they were tamping it, so they were done. Water was on.
Okay, great.
Tree removal up the Chestnut Ridge. There's quite a few widowmakers in there. We're very worried about taking the power lines out. If you remember when we had that fall storm, we had the transformers ripped right off of the pole there. So some of the ones that really got worse, we had them removed. So it didn't help us this weekend because it was another source that we lost power. We did have generators on for a couple of days. In the process of having the trunk line that goes along the railroad tracks behind the train station, cleared. It's very, very heavy vines. It's not really tree work there. We got a hold of Percy Ferris, and he's got the perfect piece of equipment. They're the ones that cleared the solar farm, and they're gonna come in and clear right out, give us a 30-foot path, and then we can get in there with equipment and check it through Weston and Sampson. So that's in the process. As of this afternoon, Eureka generator was still running. I don't know whether you noticed, there's a big tree down. I think that's Mountain View.
Right on the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, that's why I was delayed today.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got behind the school.
You didn't turn around?
They had
You didn't turn around?
to replace there, but by now we should be back on power, regular power. Chestnut Ridge did run during the weekend, but no problems whatsoever. Also, my truck is being repaired starting today from the deer stray from the month, so hopefully we'll be up and running by the end of the week. But other than that, we're tight, things are working well.
Did you get a cost from Ferris for rubbing all that out? Did they give you a price on that?
Yeah, we grabbed two of them. We got one from Tommy Kane, somebody local. Tommy was real high. He was 42.
43 maybe?
43, right. And Ferris will come in with his small excavator for $2,800.
$2,800?
So that was.
Yeah.
But again, understand, that is the main trunk line.
Right.
Going along the tracks, and then, well, not the Fall Street, but along the tracks. Once we get in there and we can see what we have, there's about 1,000 feet of main that goes up toward Worcester. Goes parallel to the storage unit there.
Right.
That's real heavy. That's real heavy brush and very, very wet. So once we can get a visual going this way, then we're gonna get a visual going that way.
Yeah, he couldn't give us a price on that without.
Oh,
getting
no,
in
no,
there.
no,
And
because,
my other thought was get in there now while the ground can still be somewhat firm, and he can get that machine in there as opposed to. if you
Losing it.
well, the
wait
most
too
wet,
long, it's too soft.
you have Diamond Avenue, right, from Paul Street. That's all.
Actually, it's not bad, Pete, until you get to where the crossing is. that
That's
goes to
right.
Wall Street.
Right.
From what I understand, Dibble and his guys went in there and did put some drainage pipe, but it's actually floating. It was plastic pipe and it's actually floating from the erosion. And I also understand that about 25 years ago, they tried to make a road going back toward Worcester. But we've got we got the blessings from the inland wetland to get in there. I don't think we're in any issue with the Metro North. So, and again, that's where they went in 2 years ago and they put the meters,
Right.
and they couldn't get any farther. So this is a win-win for us to get that cleared out.
Good. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, everyone. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Very good. Thank you.
Nurse, want this back?